Ryan Garcia continues to target and taunt Devin Haney. This is not going anywhere. Ryan says Devin Haney couldn't get a knockout. He couldn't score a knockout at the county fair. Wow. In a brand new interview, Ryan Garcia has some things to say. He says, quote, "You got Devin Haney fighting at the OC fair." So when he says he's going to return to boxing, he says boxing missed me for 3 months. Ryan to that says, "Nobody even knew you were gone. If your daddy Bill Haney ain't speaking, nobody cares about you." Second, if all, how are you going to get in a fight with a random civilian at the OC fair and you didn't get a knockout there? You can't even knock out a civilian, let alone a professional fighter. End quote. Wow. Now, I see where this is going already. I really feel, and I strongly believe this, everything that I said immediately after April 20th, when Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney fought. You guys can listen to me, the best in the business, and it's not even close. Or you can listen to Brand X and whoever. But I'm not mincing my words. I'm not setting up false prophets and promises. I'm truly telling you what I feel, right? There's a lot of people and there's like different agendas. Like, for example, and I feel like this, even though it's politics, I feel like it relates a lot to boxing. If you look in the news, you find out that there were influencers who the DOJ came out and there's an indictment saying that this parent company was funneling money from Russia to specific companies, and those companies were spending money with influencers to push pro-Russian propaganda and basically the Russian state media. And these people were basically passing these ideas and these narratives and their thoughts as their own, but there's a big conflict of interest. Nobody knew that your company was getting paid by Russia. So when you're saying X, Y, and Z about Ukraine and things like that, and people are taking this into consideration, but little do they know, you have almost like a horse in the race. You have some stuff going on with non-disclosures, and now you have been incentivized to say what you're saying. And that's on a bigger scale in world news, but the same thing goes on in boxing. Could be a smaller scale, but it's the same thing. And I find it funny how the real world is very analogous to what you see in boxing, where you have Kremlin and you got Russians paying to have the influencers influence in America, in Canada, and these people are making bread and then acting like, oh, hey, this is just my opinion, blah, blah, blah. That happens in boxing, where you got the Haneyacks and they have personal relationships. You know, I don't know what the extent, flights, hotels, you know, maybe just time for an interview, but you have certain people in boxing who are saying certain things and bigging up certain agendas, and they're definitely on the payroll in some caliber. That's why I'm so thankful that I got great fans and I don't have to do any of that. I can genuinely be myself, hate me or love me. That's what you get on the channel. So I just wanted to go down that little rabbit hole because it's something in current world news, and it's something I notice in boxing, especially with certain fighters like Devin Haney, right? You see people who are like, they have these weird agendas. Like, you'll see the patterns, right? And I'm not saying you can't like Devin Haney. That's not a problem. If he's your favorite fighter or you like the way he scraps, you like the way he fights, I ain't got no beef with that. We're talking about the above and beyond, like the content creators who push pro Devin narratives even when they don't make sense. Content creators, when there's quote unquote negative news about a fighter they like Devin Haney, and they're very slow to drag their feet to create content. Like anything that's distasteful, unflattering, you might not even hear about it from certain individuals. And I think that's a problem because most people in boxing puff their chest out and walk around saying, I'm unbiased. I'm unbiased. I'm not being biased. But then the Haneyacks and the Haneyacks channels, they'll say I'm unbiased, all the while they've never said anything constructive in criticism towards a certain fighter like Devin Haney. But every time they talk about, let's say, Gervonta Davis, it's something negative. You see the pattern, right? Like, for example, me, I'm my own boss. You guys know this. I wake up when I want, talk about what I want, and that's the benefit and the luxury of starting your own channel from the ground up, the hard way, the long way. I don't need anybody's money, or I don't need an interview so much to the point where I'm starving for it and I can't run my channel. You dig? So I think the Haney Garcia, there are so many questions, and then the Haneyacks refuse to even address some of the questions. So that's another reason you can tell that there's an agenda, and people are either paid shills or, you know, some greasing of the palms or whatever you want to call it. For example, Bill Haney is the trainer and the manager for for his son, Devin Haney. And after looking the deal that they managed, after listening to it and finding out there was no rehydration clause on Ryan after he missed weight by over 3 pounds, there was no rematch clause to begin with. Devin took shorter money, but claims it's the Devin Haney era and the Mayweather era is over. The Tank era is over. Said they were the A-side over Ryan Garcia. But behind closed doors, they were so thirsty to get a major fight that they let Ryan get the lion's share of money. And this split, they've actually been on record and saying it. Devin Haney said it in an interview with Angela Yee, right? So why would you give Ryan, if you truly thought you were the A-side, why would you give Ryan the lion's share of the money, right? Why would you have no rematch clause, no rehydration clause, right? Certain things and safety nets to protect your star fighter in the event of what happened that night happens. Now, fast forward to the future, the Haneyacks channels, they don't want to ask the tough questions like, should Bill Haney still be the trainer? Should they, be held accountable for missing these bullet points that would have helped Devin Haney at least secure a rematch or get the fight canceled when Ryan missed weight? These are concerns that I'm sure weren't concerning in the beginning, but now you have to look back. See, here's the thing. When something works, it just works. So you don't have to revisit it. But when you make a mistake or when you lose, that is when you have to go analyze something. Like, for example, somebody could be doing something the wrong way, right? But it yielded the result that you wanted. So you're not going to learn from that. It's only when you lose, especially if you lose big and it's an epic failure, that's when you're going to learn from it and be like, man, and now you got to retrace your steps, start from the beginning, see where you went wrong. When you're winning, you don't have to really analyze anything, and most people don't, right? It's just like, here's an example. If your money is perfect, right, you're not thinking of a rainy day fund. I'm saying most people. They're not thinking of a rainy day fund. They're not thinking about necessarily saving their money. Hey, I could buy food when I want. I could buy clothes when I want. I got a roof over my head. You're not thinking about those things. But let you lose your job, and then now your rent's due, and you're 3, 4, 5 months without any kind of income because you still don't have a job, and you're burning through your savings that you didn't really save. Then you're going to start thinking about those things. Like, man, I should have saved more money. I should have saved more of my check. Or if you got 4 flat tires and you have no savings, no rainy day fund, you're going to start thinking about those things. And I think that's what it is with the Haneys. They didn't think they would lose. They didn't think they could lose, at least to Ryan Garcia in that fight. Now that it happened, I feel like Devin's career has taken a major step back. Now you got Ryan Garcia still, no matter what he said and offended people, no matter if he failed drug tests, he's still taunting Devin Haney. And it's going to hurt Devin Haney's image as long as he's doing that, right? Because he's saying funny stuff, right? And we know how the internet works. So if Devin's like, yeah, Ryan's a cheater, then people are just going to post pictures of Devin being floored by Ryan Garcia. Or if Devin says, oh, Ryan, you a bitch, or whatever the case is, people are going to post those videos and the photos and things like Devin's face being swole up, or talk about, hey, why you didn't knock out the dude at the fight? You know, the same stuff Ryan's saying. So we'll see how it plays out. But for me, I don't think this is, it's going to be hard to bounce back from. It's going to take, I can't wait to see what's next. But it's going to take some sheer determination, grit, some bite down for Devin Haney to bounce back. And I'm not saying just bounce back as just a fighter and have another fight. I'm saying to bounce back to try to get to the level that he was at prior to it. Because even though he's an undefeated fighter, the world is not necessarily looking at it like that. Let me know what you guys think. Ego thoughts.